What is inevitable in times like this? What is inevitable that most people think they want but are afraid when it happens? Starts with a C. Change. Change is one of those things where I want change, and then when change happens or it's forced upon you, how does change feel? You want change when you decide to change, right? And in most businesses, I could already see, because I've been doing this long enough and I do consult when I have time. I don't have as much time as I used to. But I know the companies that aren't going to make it, or unless they do something different, because they found such a groove. Hear these words: the thoughts, the capabilities, and the actions that got you out of Egypt are not the same thoughts, capabilities, and actions that will take you to the promised land. I've watched for years. The same capabilities to get to $1 million a year are not the same to get you to 10. The same capabilities to get you to 10 are not the same to get you to 100. Same to get you 100, don't get you to $500 million. You got to shift. You got to up level your thinking. You got to up level your capabilities. You got to up level the action. And please know, not everybody in here wants to go to 10 million, 100 million. Some of you are lifestyle entrepreneurs. You want to make a certain amount of money. Maybe it's passive income that gives you the lifestyle you want. That's cool. That's not like a bad thing. And some of you are accomplishment-based entrepreneurs. You get to 10 million, you want 100. You get to 100, you want $1 billion. Like that's cool. Whatever one you get, you need to know which one you are. That really helps. But just know that if change has to happen, then you have to find a way to fall in love with change. If you're comfortable in your decisions every day, you are not pushing yourself far enough. If you ever listen to Sarah Blakely, who had invented Spanx, her dad asked her every day what she failed at. And if she said nothing, he said, well, you didn't push yourself today. If you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself to the limits. It's the same thing. If your action doesn't feel uncomfortable, then you got comfortable in what you're doing, and the same thing you're doing today is not going to work tomorrow because things are changing. Can we agree shit's changing? So we have to change. We could be like Wayne Gretzky. Why are we so good at hockey? Because I skate to where the puck is going. Everybody else goes to where the puck is. There's a lot of people going to where the puck is. There's a lot of people saying, here's my cheese. I bring it every day. I'm just going to keep that cheese. Don't anybody screw with it. Well, the cheese is probably going to change. So the little people stayed there and pretty much starved while the mice fought, struggled, fell down, got hungry. What would they eventually find? Bigger, better cheese, right? And along that journey, they got stronger, right? What's the smoothest rock in the stream is in the roughest current. We know that, right? So my thoughts are, in times like this, you have to find a way to embrace change. You have to find a way to welcome it. You have to find a way to see opportunity, not obstacles. You have to find a way to be glad for what you have, not for what you've lost or you missed. Simple. I'm not telling you stuff you don't know. Maybe I just came here today to remind you of shit you already know and forgot. Right? So number one, embrace change. Number two, you got to be courageous. You got to be bold in times like these. You have to innovate. I've been through 3 down markets in my career. And in 2007, when the world changed, I saw everybody cutting back. And I watched that feeling. Cutting back sucks, doesn't it? Downsizing sucks. Downsizing your own personal house, downsizing your own expenses, or downsizing the business you have is just shitty. And I just remember not wanting to feel that way. And I'm like, if that's what everybody's doing, please no, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I'm not making straight A's in all areas of my life. But this one I'm pretty good at, because I watched everybody doing that, and I was in real estate full time. Anybody watch my old infomercials on real estate? They were on every day, nonstop, 24 hours a day. When the market shifted in 07 and there was more foreclosures, I mean, anybody remember 07 looking down the street and every other house was for sale? Do you remember every 4th house? What was that little sign on top of the for sale? Foreclosure, right? And I'm in the real estate, I'm in the teaching people real estate business, and it's the worst real estate market in the history of America. And simultaneously, it was the greatest year of my life. It shifted. Because I watched at the time, some of this is dating some of you, but it was Carlton Sheets, and a guy from California, or a guy from Florida, Russ Whitney, and a couple other people. And we were all on infomercials because there was no internet. People were like, why would you do infomercials? Because I'm old, and there was no internet in 1994, right? In 1998. So I'm watching everybody, and the world shifted. People are wondering if they're gonna go into foreclosure, they're gonna lose their house. And I'm watching Russ Whitney and Dynatech and Carlton Sheets, and they're all talking about getting rich and going this, and I'm like, man, people don't want prosperity. People want freaking life preservers. They just want to feel safe. Now, I didn't invent wholesaling. I want to share that. But I made it pretty damn popular. Cody, you're the one that I made it popular because I wrote a book in '97 when the world was shifting. And I wrote a book, Be a Real Estate Millionaire, sold 1 million copies of that damn thing. And I showed people in there like, hey, I don't know how to get rich in a down market by flipping because you don't know where it's gonna go. And I don't know how, you could buy and hold if you care about cash flow. But there is this other known way where landlords are gonna still be buying a shit ton of houses. And you could just survive through this shifting time by finding really good deals for landlords and make a cut in the middle. I didn't even call it wholesaling. I just wrote a whole philosophy on it. And because I innovated, I'm not trying to look for a pat on the back. My whole point is, I remember what's his name? I just said, Carlton Sheets, his team called me and said, hey, should we all just shut off and give it 2 years and then come back? I'm like, fuck that. And when I watched everybody doing, excuse my language, I'm like, if they all don't do this shit, it'll all come to me. I'm not kidding you. I shifted my whole strategy. There was no, I don't use money claims in my advertising, and I haven't in long years. But there was nothing about getting rich. There was nothing about making money. It was all about, hey, in times like these, we created a way to survive. Life preservers, lifeboats. And it took off like wildfire. And within a year and a half, they were all out of business. And I own the entire industry. That one infomercial I did $150 million in sales in the worst real estate market in the history of the world. And I say that not to brag and give you, it's a measuring stick, right? How successful it was. It shifted my world, it shifted my income, it shifted my impact, and it's the trajectory I'm still on. But it made me realize that most people will sit on their hands and wait to see where things are going. Here's the thing, no one's coming to freaking save us. Whether you hated or liked the last president, or you hate or like the current president, I promise you, the next one, whether you hate him or like him, they ain't saving your ass. It's on us. It is totally on us. And we can sit and wait, and we can let the fearmonger get inside and cripple us. Or we can say, how can I do something completely different than everybody else? How can I gain new skills? How can I do something different? I didn't do much different other than thinking about who was still buying. It wasn't rocket science. Like, I was a landlord. In 2007 to 2009, I bought 1,000 single family houses in 2 years. Almost bankrupted myself. I went pretty quick. It was pretty dumb. But it seemed great in concept until you had like 500 properties in rehab at the same time. Would have been fun. Real estate guys goes bankrupt from buying real estate. That wouldn't have been a good headline. But my whole point is, I promise you, stay engaged, stay connected, learn from people who've already been through it, find a mentor, and look for the openings, look for the opportunities because they exist. And I'm telling you, most people are not looking for them. Most people are backing up into the goal right now and say, hey, let me just play goalie for a few years. Maybe I should just check out. And if that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel, great, but I don't think you'd be in this room if that's what you wanted. I'm telling you, I had more opportunity in a down market because nobody else was thinking outside the freaking box. Nobody was innovating. And that changed everything. So number one is change. Number two is courage, right? Courage is what? Jumping out of the plane, growing wings on the way down. And the third C is confidence. So how do you get that confidence, whether that's your first deal, talking to a seller, doing your first multifamily, going to the next? We all have a different, listen, I get to talk about this big shit now. I'm just a couple years ahead of you. I've been right where you are. I've sat in events like this. I've been broker than shit. I lived in a trailer park with my mom until we got evicted. I lived in a bathroom with my dad because we had no heat in our house. I've been at every level. So I'm not talking like top of the hill, it's great up here. I'm talking to you knowing I've been at every phase you're at. I've been at my first deal, I've been at my 10th deal, I've been at my 1,000th deal. I've been at $1,000 a week, $1,000 a day, 10 a day, $100,000 a day, couple $100,000 a day. I've been at every level. So no, please know when I talk, I can have empathy, compassion, and excitement for wherever you are, whatever level. But if you don't have a mechanism to protect your confidence, I promise you, when you get that opportunity, that calling, you might pass on it. You have to protect your confidence. And I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but I promise you, if you just audit this over the next week, there are things you currently do today. There are conversations you have with certain people. There's advice you let slip in your ears. There's news that you watch. There's weaknesses you focus on, that when you do any of those, it robs your confidence and you are not playing into your full potential. You're leaving shit on the table. Simultaneously, here's the brilliance, ready? Figure out the stuff that robs your confidence. Ready for it? Stop doing it. Brilliant, right? My whole point is not trying to oversimplify it. Audit what robs your confidence and who robs your confidence. Audit the things that bring you up, the podcast you listen to, the friend you talk to, the group you're in, and do more of it. And the last thing I'll say, and this is a plug for Cody, I wouldn't be here in a time like this, the busiest week ever, 10 days before this launch, it's insane. But I really believe in this man and I see his potential. I know how much he cares and I know how smart he is. What I started with is sometimes we try to figure out how to do stuff, and you can all figure out how. That's a fact. It just depends on how much time it's gonna take. My biggest secret in life is when you wanna figure out how, replace how with who. Who has already done it, and who can I cut a check to allow me to go faster so I can condense the learning curve. Tony Robbins says it best. How do you condense decades into days? Who can take 10 years of shit they figured out so I don't have to make the mistakes? And how do I condense that into a short period of time? You cut the check, go faster, but then you have to make sure you go upstream and don't let this get in your way. Look for opportunity, not obstacles. Celebrate what you have, not what you lost, and you'll crush it through this shifting market. Thank you guys.
Bam.